Welcome back, everyone. It's Thursday, August 3rd. So, this episode is going to focus heavily on two companies that I admire and I think are also very important for the next few weeks and sessions for the market. So, after hours, Apple and Amazon have reported. Over 70% plus of all companies have also reported. And I'll kind of deep dive into some of my thoughts. I'm not going to cover too many other companies today. But before I jump into those Apple and Amazon earnings, let's go to the top and look at the forest before the trees. So when you take a look at the overall breadth of the day, you had roughly about 140 new highs and 158 new lows. 38% were advancing today's session versus 58% declining. The complexion that I would like to kind of share with today's market is it opened down pretty hard and it tried to claw back toward the close. I would say midday, like around 1 o'clock, and then it started to bleed out a little bit toward the close. And I'll be honest, it was a continuation of yesterday. Not much difference other than the fact that everyone is just waiting for Amazon and Apple. When I take a look at across the board, the Dow was down 66 points, which is like 0.19%. The NASDAQ was pretty much even. It was down a dime, like 13 points or 0.10%. The S&P was down 0.25%, and the Russell was down 0.28%. So that's what I mean. It was very break-even type of day. Looking at just kind of like what moved, Microsoft was down 0.25%, Nvidia up 0.5%, Apple down 0.73 prior to the earnings. CRM was down 2.24%. Amazon closed intraday up 0.5%. Tesla was up 2%. It's trying to claw its way back. When you look at kind of the sectors, energy was up. And then on the flip side, on the other extreme, utilities and real estate were down, or anything that's interest rate sensitive. Let's see. I'm just going to jump right into it. So I have heard all of Amazon's call and only half of Apple's call. And I want to kind of tee this up. I have the utmost respect for both of these companies. I use Amazon in my daily life, as I'm sure all of you do. While I don't have an iPhone, I have an Apple MacBook Pro. My family is pretty much standardized on Apple products, and I am the only idiot that still is on Android. That's what they tell me. I'm the blue text, the blue box in the text message thread in the family. And when I think about companies that can't be replaced easily, I think both of them reported today, right? Like, if you think about your daily lives, I think it'd be very hard if I was Thanos and I snapped my fingers and Amazon disappeared today. I think it'd be very hard for another company, even Walmart, to step in their place to kind of seamlessly replace what they've built. And I don't see Amazon as an e-commerce / AWS company. I see them as a delivery mechanism for many things, whether it's physical products, whether it is now their burgeoning Amazon Health / pharmacy business, Amazon Prime, Whole Foods, which is brick and mortar, obviously. They're just so entrenched in our lives, and I think they've done an amazing job cornering this market. And it'd be very hard for a second place competitor to take over their spot, even if they disappeared. So very important company. When I look at Apple, the last Apple iPhone that I've owned was the iPhone 5. So when the Apple iPhone came out, I was a big believer in Steve Jobs, and I knew that device was going to change the world. And I was all in on Apple iPhone until about Apple 5. Like, I was super happy with Apple iPhone 4 and the 4G. And then after 5 and I think iPhone 5S, it just started to become features and screen size and battery. So at that point, I had made the switch over to Android. But Apple's done a great job, I think, developing that ecosystem of Apple Music, Apple TV, the MacBook, obviously the iPad, the watch, and they're just so entrenched in everyone's lives. I think it'd be very hard for someone to replace them if they also disappeared tomorrow. But when I take a look at Apple's growth trajectory, they've actually been having declining revenue in the past 3 straight quarters, and I don't know. I think they need something new outside of Apple Vision. I can't foresee that headset saving their future growth, right? I don't think everyone in the country is going to have an Apple Vision Pro in their household. Not yet, especially not in 2024. I don't think it's shipping until 2024. And they're $2,000 per headset. So I don't know where their growth is going to come from. I think they're working on an autonomous automobile that's all electric as well. I don't know when that's coming out, but both these companies are not going anywhere. But of the two, I think the growth rate and trajectory of Amazon is a little bit more impressive. But I'll listen to the full Apple earnings call, but they are weak after hours. They were negative. Amazon was fairly bullish after hours. We'll see how they open up tomorrow. But yeah, now that all of these earnings have come out, now that Apple and Amazon have reported, there's not many left to kind of wait for. And tomorrow we have the non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, hourly wages that come out that will heavily impact kind of what the FOMC minutes and, well, not the minutes are already going to be baked. It's already a baked cake, but tomorrow's data will impact the next FOMC minutes. It's a little concerning because now all of the earnings are out. I've listened to probably 20 so far, and I think on a consensus, a lot of folks beat, but they're on declining expectations. So they're beating low bars, and now we're kind of left at the whims of both Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell and what their whims are for policy, yields, and what they want to do with liquidity in the markets. I did notice that the housing industry, all the builders, were down today, but again, they've been up so much. It could just be a pullback, and I mentioned yesterday, everyone's panicking, and we only have one really bad day so far, and we have to wait and see what happens after a few more sessions. But right now, as I mentioned, unless 4185 breaks to the downside for S&P / the ES futures, we're in a bullish impulse. That's all I really have today. It's going to be a short episode, and I will see you on the next one. Have a great day.